Hey there, this is Canadian Tech Videos. Today I've got another old GPU that I picked up for about $5 Canadian. Another $5 GPU? What did I get this time? Well, this time I have a Radeon HD 6870. But as you can tell, this is not the launch model. This is the XFX model. So yeah, we're going to be putting this into my Acer computer, the old Aspire that I have, and we're going to be testing it out, see what we can get running on this, how far we can push this, how modern of a game will actually work on here. And yeah, we'll see just how useful this particular GPU is in 2026. But first, a little about the card. This is a Radeon HD 6870 GPU. It's the base XFX model and was released in late 2010 with a suggested retail price of $239 US, which, as of today, means it would be about $362 US. Other than being a two-fan model, there's not much difference between this and the general AMD launch card. The memory on this card is 1024 megabytes of GDDR5 memory with a 256-bit memory bus. It has a GPU clock at 900 MHz and a memory clock at 1050 MHz. It draws 151 watts through two 6-pin power connectors. And what about output connectors? Yeah, it is well stocked there with one HDMI 1.3A port, two DVI ports, and two mini DisplayPort 1.1 connectors. This graphics card is 8 years older than the stock graphics in the Acer Aspire 885 I'm going to test this in. So, will this card actually be better than those graphics? And now it's time to see if this card even works. We've of course got 5 different inputs for video here. I've got it set to the HDMI or plugged into the HDMI right now, so let's see if this works. Ah, there we go. We got a picture. So, the HDMI works. Now I've got to use adapters for everything else. So I've already got the mini port here with an adapter, so let's just plug straight into that. And that one works. The other one works. Now, add another adapter. That's 4 out of 5. And 5 out of 5. So we have 5 out of 5 of the video outputs on this card are working. So I guess now it is time to try some, benchmarking of this. And the first thing we're going to try is Heaven Benchmark. So right now we've got the quality set, or the resolution is set to 1920 by 1080. I don't have great hopes for this. It's an older card than the last one I tested, but let's try it. Off the bat, you can see that we're only having a maximum of 55 frames and a minimum of 27 frames, but hey, we'll see how it goes. Well, there we go. Actually did a bit better than I was expecting it. Maximum frame 72, minimum 19, average 37, score of 931, which is still way better than this Acer's built-in graphics, which only had a score of 256 with an average 10 frames per second. So this is almost 4 times better than it. But we'll see how it goes when we actually play some games. We might have to go down to 720 gaming for this. So one of the interesting things that I noticed while I was running the Heaven benchmark there is that it's only identifying this as a 6800 series, Radeon 6800 series GPU. It's not actually identifying it as what it is, and I think that might be because the newest drivers for this, the ones that I had to put on here to get this running, are actually only go up to being for Windows 7. So if you actually run Task Manager on here, and you go into the performance, you don't even have performance for the GPU on here. It's only got the CPU, memory, disks, and Ethernet. So that's in itself interesting. So not properly identifying the GPU, so it's still working though, which is good. So the first thing that we are going to do is run Diablo 3, of course, one of my favorite games, so that has to be the first one that we run. I have a feeling we're going to maybe have to turn down the graphics on this, but we'll see. Go to a random part in the game. Ooh. I died quickly there. Okay, looks like we're at a fairly busy part of the game here, and we're still doing around 60 frames per second, 94% GPU and 16% CPU, so let's take a look. And so as you can see, we are actually set at full screen 1920 by 1080, and most settings are high, so this GPU definitely runs Diablo 3 just fine. Now we're going to move on to trying out Dead Frontier 2. Now, this is, of course, an 8-year-old game, so probably not stretching it too far for this GPU, but let's take a look. All right, here we are. We are into the game, and we're running at about 60 frames per second, 70 frames per second. So let's run out and see if we can kill something. So let's jump in between 50 and 60 frames per second. Not too bad. The responsiveness is pretty good. So this seems to be running actually not too bad. I was thinking I might have to turn the settings down on this, but so far, and I guess you're wondering, what are the settings that I'm running at where we're using about 85% of the GPU, 90%, and about 20% of the CPU, running between 50 and 60 frames per second. Our settings are 1920 by 1080, full screen. We are on high quality shadows, high texture resolution, high shader quality. So yeah, that's about as good as you're going to make it. So you could make it even run a little bit better if you turn some of this stuff down, but At the 60 frames per second for a game that's 8 years old, it's running pretty good. So you don't have to actually turn anything down. You can just play it like this. I'm currently trying to load Grand Theft Auto 5 Enhanced Edition, and it's saying that because my graphics card will not handle DirectX 12, it doesn't want to load. So we will try Grand Theft Auto 5 Legacy. All right, I've set it to the maximum amount of graphics that it will do on here, which is 1360 by 768. I'm doing 60 hertz refresh rate with VSync on, so it should be getting 60 frames per second maximum, which should be plenty for this game. So, let's play it. And here we go, and yeah, it seems to be pretty good, handling pretty good, and we're using about 52% of the GPU, and it looks like about 77, 60%, 54% of the CPU, so that's jumping all over the place, but it's a pretty stable 60 frames per second. Like I said, nice and responsive, so yeah, good. Oops. I crashed. And I failed. So yeah, it's running fine at 60 frames per second. So this version of GTA 5 is running fine. The next question I am going to attempt to answer is, will my Radeon HD 6870 run Counter-Strike 2? There we go. Well, my graphics drivers are out of date because they haven't made any graphics drivers for this card since Windows 7. All right, here we are. And yeah, it looks like it's jumping around between about 60 and 80 frames per second. And yeah, it's not bad, but it's having little bits of sluggish slowdowns, so the playing is not great here, but it is playable. So let's go to settings. See where we're at. So we're at 1920 by 12 or 1080. See if we turn that down just a touch. Let's try 1280 by 720. There we go. So we are in it at 1280 by 720, and yeah, it is running better. I mean, at the higher resolution, it was still very playable, just a little bit more responsive now. Oh, there's somebody above me. They're going to try to kill me. Haha, I got a kill. And I got killed. So, yeah. I would say playable in both situations. You may not want to go into some serious tournaments like this, but you can certainly have some fun playing against bots, and it works. And the last game that I'm going to be trying out here is Once Human. This is by far the most modern game. It's only 2 years old. And you may remember the GTX 670 video I did. That was actually the lowest spec GPU that this game is supposed to work with. So, since this is an even lower spec GPU, let's see what happens. And here we are. It is actually working, surprisingly enough, and well, we're only running at 24 frames per second, but it's a pretty smooth 24 frames per second. The movement is a little bit sluggish. So let's just take a look and see what our settings currently are. So we are in 1920 by 1080. So if we turn that down to 1280 by 720, now we appear to be slightly better frame rate. Yeah, I'd say it's running a little bit better, but I mean, surprisingly enough, this game probably shouldn't be working on this GPU. I mean, we are using 98% of the GPU and 20% of the CPU, but it's pretty surprising that this game is even working. I actually had a whole kind of speech planned about, you know, the fact that this wouldn't run on this GPU, but hey, it wasn't made for it, so that's not the end of the world. But I mean, actually, you could probably play this like this. It's not that bad. And that was the Radeon HD 6870. How good was that? Not actually very good. I mean, obviously can't play any newer games on it because the best it does is DirectX 11.1. And yeah, definitely none of the newer games are going to run on it, but did find some games that aren't supposed to run on it, ran just fine on it. And the thing I found the most surprising was I thought I was going to be going completely 720p gaming on this thing just to get a decent amount of frame rate out of it, but actually at 1080p, it's not that bad. I mean, obviously, most things are better, but it still runs and is playable at 1080p. So, yeah, a little bit surprising, but it's not a graphics card I'm going to go put into any systems right now. Backup maybe for some of my older systems, just in case the GPU goes down, or maybe I'll put it into one of my even older systems. So, yeah, that was the Radeon HD 6870, a card that I paid $5 for, and I think that was definitely worth it. All right, these are the names of my Patreons going by, so thank you to them if you're interested in supporting my channel on Patreon. The link is down in the description, and don't forget that if you do support my channel, you're going to be supporting this channel and my other channel, Canadian Retro Things. So it's a 2-for-1 special. All right, well, thanks for watching the video. Thanks for liking, subscribing, and commenting, and all those things that YouTube just loves. And I will see you in the next video.